Welcome back to Exotic Car Play Place, everyone. Thanks for joining in on this beautiful, if not somewhat cloudy day. I'm going to give you guys 5 luxury vehicles that are going to be an excellent buy in 2020, especially given what's going on in the current world circumstances. The whole plan has changed, and the environment and the economics, as well as the success of all these car companies, have changed this year. So I'm going to share with you 5 great buys in 2020 for luxury cars. Let's get into it now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mark with Exotic Car Play Place. So the first luxury car that I recommend for 2020 that will likely find success is the Audi RS3, like we have right here. And why is this one such a great car? Well, number one, it's from the VAG group, and the VAG group is the Volkswagen Audi group, which of course has a strong financial support. After all, do you remember the Dieselgate scandal when they had all those diesel issues in the Volkswagen Audi group and Porsche? And they were taken to task because of that and the scamming that was allegedly done. However, they sailed through that financially, even with all the changes they had to make and the buybacks and all that other retrofit stuff they had to take care of, they got through it. So financially, they're a strong company. But beyond that, we'll talk about this car specifically, the RS3, which is an amazing car, as you can tell. Any of the RS models typically do well, and they hold their value fairly well. So really, you get a lot of great features with any of these RS models. Of course, being the RS3, you get dual exhaust, you get extra wings, you get side skirts, oversized wheels. You also get massive brakes on the front end, which gives you mass biting power, so it has a great job of keeping this thing at bay. Great styling touches in the typical Audi fashion, LEDs, and that massive grille. Some love, some hate. Either way, it's very imposing. It's a beautiful car. On top of that, it is a sedan, so you've got 4 doors, you've got a trunk, makes it very practical. So it's an easy car to live with. Now, because it's an RS model, the retail value stays high on the used car market. But as well, there's a legendary engine tucked away under the hood here, and that is the 2.5 liter turbocharged 5-cylinder engine that makes 400 horsepower and a whole pile of torque. Now, that's bolted up to a dual clutch transmission that is lightning fast. So it's a strong performer. It's easy to live with because it's practical. It will resale very, very well on the used car market. And unlike its brother, the TTRS, it's just easier to sell to anybody because of the extra trunk space and the extra sets of doors. It's a wonderful car that's relatively dependable, and the RS models always just hold their value, so it's a highly recommended car in 2020. So the next highly recommended luxury car for 2020 this year are right behind me, and what we have here is a pair of 440 BMWs. Now we have a 440i, but this isn't a coupe, so you'll notice it's a 2-door coupe. Beautiful car. This has the B58 engine, which is essentially the 3-liter turbocharged engine, 322 horsepower, 0 to 60, 4.5 seconds. These are a beautiful car, wonderful. Same engine that you'll find in the Toyota Supra. Over here, we have essentially the same car, but this is the Grand Coupe. The Grand Coupe means you get 4 doors instead of the 2. That's just BMW's name for this particular style. It has a different tail end finishing that you would find in the 340, which essentially uses the same chassis and the drivetrain. But both of these use that B58 engine, so they're both a great choice. The question is, do you need the 4-door or do you need the 2-door? It depends what your flavor. One has a little more of the style feel to it, the other one's a little more practical. They both carry the coupe name. Great cars, but because they're a 3 Series and 4 Series chassis car, the simplicity is there. You've got less things going on like air ride and you don't have, and a lot of the electronics that you would find in some of the premium cars like the 5 and the 7 Series cars don't exist in these cars, making dependability a little bit better than you would find in the 5 Series, for example. Not only that, these typically sell better on the used car market, so they will carry a slightly higher percentage of retention value over, say, something like a 7 Series, because the youth typically aren't buying a used 7 Series, and guys that have the money aren't buying a used 7 Series, so it's sort of the bastard child and it doesn't go anywhere, and it therefore doesn't sell. These cars will sell. These cars are great performers. They look stylish, reasonably reliable, but because they're BMW, BMW has a strong performance just before this global catastrophe. And so even though they've taken a significant hit in this last quarter, they're likely going to rebound at some point, and they're still ultimately one of the stronger selling luxury brands on the market. So these represent a great buy, a 3 or a 4 Series BMW. Now the next one on my list goes to the car parked right behind me here. That is right, that's a Mercedes-Benz coupe. Now, even though the current marketplace is a little soft for any coupes, doesn't matter what brand, Mercedes is the top selling luxury brand just leading up to this whole global catastrophe. So they've edged out the market for anything luxury car. Now, of course, this specifically has an AMG badge on it, and anything with the AMG badging typically holds a solid value. This one being a coupe, it's very pretty. You've got oversized brakes. You see drilled brakes there with an oversized caliper. Mercedes-Benz with some of the great touches now they're incorporating in their headlights. That grille is just to die for. It's just sparkles. It's spectacular. What a wonderful car all the way around. Again, as I say, it's got the AMG badge. So anything with the AMG badge is also going to hold a better value. You'll notice we've got the twin turbo in there, and it's the 4MATIC, so we're talking all-wheel drive in here. And these cars have absolutely wonderful interiors. You'll notice they've got the upright display, which is questionable. Not everybody's in love with that, but everything looks very top quality. Lots of brushed aluminum. You've got leather from top to bottom. It's a wonderful car. And again, as I said before, this one here is a C63 AMG, and it has the wonderful wraparound taillights, little spoiler on the back here. Just a wonderfully balanced car. Very, very pretty. AMG, this will hold value. And because it's Mercedes and they were one of the strongest sellers prior, likely what you're going to find is these cars are going to hold value. AMG is not going anywhere. And if you need to service these cars, it's not one of those cars that's going to disappear into the abyss as a result of financial upset due to this world catastrophe. So these cars are absolutely great. And as I said, if you want the top of the line, the C63S will give you over 500 horsepower. But if you don't want to spend the full beans because you're financially strapped or you're concerned with what the future holds, but you still want to get into that market, this is a great buy, as 386 horsepower in this twin turbo V6 is a great alternative. Carries a lot of the same attributes as you get in the top of the line model, but this still carries the AMG brand and will therefore hold great value for the future. And the next car on my list is actually the car right behind me. It's the brand new Porsche 911. Right here we have a 992 generation. That's right, it's the current model. We're talking about an S model. Of course, you can get base models with a little less power. The S typically bumps that up, or a 4S. This one here has a PDK, that's their double clutch transmission. Also has a twin turbo 3-liter engine that makes about 443 horsepower and cracks 3 seconds in the 0 to 60. Quite honestly, one of the most attractive cars on the street today. You cannot beat a 911 for performance, look, sound, the whole packaging. Now, what's great about these cars is they're also part of the VAG group, the Volkswagen Audi group, as mentioned before with the Audi RS. These cars here will likely be supported with a very healthy bankroll. And of course, as a result, these cars, I don't expect the 911s to disappear anytime soon, as they were well supported financially. This is a safe bet as well. By buying a Carrera and a Carrera S, these are more base models. You're likely going to get most of your money back, as the resale and value retention is excellent on these cars. The first 2 years, they almost don't lose hardly anything in terms of value. And when they do start to slide on the depreciation curve, they still hold up very well. What you don't want to do is get caught up thinking you're getting a similar car by buying a Cayenne or a Macan or even a Boxster or any of that other stuff. They're great cars, but they're not real good investments from that perspective. These cars here are great, and they always have been. They've been the pinnacle of the Porsche world. Oversized brakes, cross-drilled, wonderful touches, absolutely awesome wheels. This great new style on the rear end of these cars makes for a very, very attractive finishing rear end on these things. Of course, you look down here, absolutely beautiful cars. Of course, this pops up. This is an entirely different car now from the 991s. The engine is similar, but the chassis interior is an entirely different car. The beauty is now you're able to get this car finally with a manual transmission, and this manual gearbox is one of the slickest and best shifting trannies ever in the Porsche world. So that's saying a lot, because these are great cars and always have been. The Porsche 911, one of the best buys for 2020. And number 5, what kind of list would this be of promoted luxury cars in 2020 if I didn't have at least one Lexus on this list? And what do we have here? An LC500. These things are absolutely beautiful. My personal favorite in the Lexus brand. But these cars here have a 5-liter V8 that make about 470 horsepower and close to 400 pound-feet of torque. They actually go fairly quickly. They have an automatic transmission, shifts very well, it almost feels like a double clutch. Now, they're not the most driver involving as you would find in typically a BMW or even some of the Benzes. However, the finishing on the interior of these cars is absolutely exquisite. It's a wonderful machine all the way around. I mean, look at these large wheels on the front end. This front end of this car is absolutely spectacular. These cars have such a presence. They're so wide and flat. Honestly, wonderful cars. And the beauty with these things, because they're a little pricey, they're rare, they're going to hold the value. And because they're a Lexus, you can own a premium performance luxury car right here and not worry about breaking the bank and constantly spending every single week in the shop. This won't do that. It is a Lexus, in fact, and it carries all the traditional Lexus reliability that you would expect. So it's really hard not to love this kind of car. It performs well, it looks great, it's well crafted and nicely put together. And because Toyota Lexus is such a strong brand for dependability, likely this won't go anywhere either. This is going to be well supported for the years coming up. So you're not buying a car like a Maserati that has a risk of possibly folding. A company like that often could struggle with finances this year, as this whole global pandemic situation is really going to put a taxing toll on car makers that just don't have the gusto. Lexus, Toyota, they'll likely be around for years to come. This is my choice, LC500. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around to the very end. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell as well. You want to see another great video talking about 2020 luxury cars? Right there, you're going to want to check on that link. That's going to give you a whole plethora of great information. Hope to see you guys real soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.